Kia Sportage inspires attention.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Hello, good evening, and welcome back to Jackocar. It's the Kia series, and you're joining me, Gareth Hall, in the comms box once again for the Portuguese round, race 3 of the season. And it's once again, it's Yuri and I having to sit through this one, but I am enjoyed by Mr. Yuri Hasalaga in a well, we'll get to it in a second. We'll leave you wishing and waiting for what you're going to see from the Kia series. But Yuri, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Gareth. It's been a lovely week without watching these scrubs drive circles around a specific track of, you and my choosing. And we're back here for another race around a great track, which you and I both value and love and have fond memories about in this specific series, where we are looking at weather.
Yeah, absolutely so. As we've got a fantastic day ahead of us, as we, as you say, firm memories here of the Queen of Jackocar and of Yuri of watching Sully absolutely pin Matt Lester into the grass from absolutely nowhere. But if you're new to Jacko, there's the fun up on the screen. Go on.
Still one of my fondest memories of last season, to be fair.
It is a doozy. It is a doozy. As
you should have clipped that.
So we've got 15 drivers tonight of the 20 that should be here. A couple of people missing out. Calendar, well, there you go. It's Portugal this week, 50%. Ked Traverse Invitational Sprint next week, 2 25% races. We will get to that later on, talking about how that's going to shake things up. But it is Portugal tonight. Portimao, it's a 4.65 kilometre circuit, 2.89 miles, 33 laps, that's 50% distance tonight. Last season, round 8, where pole was a 17.0. It was unfortunately won by Wace. And, who is going out first night? It will be Liam going out at the 14:45 minute mark. So don't worry, you've got plenty of time. We're currently, you're not sitting watching a pit lane at the moment. So I'm letting you roll through these. But as you can see, Marco after that. Kai will be coming out at 13:15. I've heard rumblings of his location. But it's the man leading away after losing the win on the opening round of the season and then taking it last week in China, Robin Border, that will be coming out at the 2:45, and last with Daniel Price in P2 and coming out at the 3:30 mark. Current standings for you? Well, it is Dan and Robin that have already advanced through to the playoffs. 11 playoff points already for Rageman, so a really, really solid haul of playoff points to him. And then behind you can see a really solid start to the season for the likes of Jess. Matt Lester, he should be up there. Harry, another good start for him. Dustin Rolko as well, 20 points as well. So only a few races in, so it's going to be close, Yuri. But if you're looking at the standings, Jess, 23 points. Harry, 21 points. They're going to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. I just, before I go back to the standings, I quickly want to jump into that. All the playoff points are not up to date. As the first car is about to hit the track, he's on his outlap anyway, so we'll quickly jump over the latest news in Jackocar. As of today, drivers will be awarded a single playoff points if they lead at least one lap throughout the race. So those playoff points table standings need to be updated, which will be happening as soon as the standings come out from this race. So we'll have accurate standings and playoff point totals next week. So on my notepad, I've just listed another tab saying leaders, and I'll try and keep up to date with that, but I will not be 100% accurate. I'm already going to say that right now.
Oh, so he's already screwing us over, and we're not even the first race into the new format.
Rough around the edges, it's Kia series, no one cares anyway.
True, very true. But yeah, as you see, as we've loaded in, it is intermediate conditions in qualifying here in Kia. which will no doubt have already meant that we've got 3 or 4 drivers in the pit lane that have already gone to change their underwear. There'll be tears everywhere, and I'm sure the creche will be bursting with little crybabies wanting it to have been dry here at a circuit that, well, last time that it rained here in Portimao in the Kia series, unfortunately it was Yuri and I that got screwed over by it. So we'll forget that, and we'll move on to what will be hopefully a somewhat competitive race. Because last week, if you remember, Yuri, it was Robin that basically cruised away from everyone else.
I have absolutely no active memories from last week.
No, I mean I tend to block out, but I do recall that it was Robin that just kind of disappeared and left your brother to come home in P2 and really show himself up. The man that, of course, won in the Cup Series recently, couldn't get it done in Kia.
Yeah, funny that, but he often has has those race weeks, to call them like that, where he has a shit race followed by a rather good race. So I guess that did work out in the end. I mean, if your name's Leroy, it works out. Me and Sully, not so much. Maybe we'll see something better from Sullivan today.
Yeah, you'd like to hope so. As just going down, has got Liam on his lap. And behind him, we've also got Kaya will be out. He's on his out lap. OKK on his out lap as well. So it will be Evil Dragon 99. Liam New, that will be the first one to set a flying lap, and flying in quotation marks, as he's navigating his way around this Portimao circuit. And I think that the weather is starting to break a little bit, because I'm starting to see blue skies. And I'm sure Kaya, as he will start his flying lap, but Kaya has weirdly just turned up at the wrong circuit, I think it is, Yuri. I mean, we've actually got, we'll go on board with him now, and I think he's on the karting track next to the circuit. Not quite sure how he got there, but
yeah, this is weird.
Yeah, he's taken. I think he must have taken a left at the final corner rather than taking the straight. He's making his way around the quite nice actually Portimao Circuit de Algarve kart track, but well, speeds like that. I mean, he's hitting 1.4 G, so it's no slouch, but maybe not the fastest of laps for the man that's hoping to get a result tonight. Your thoughts on Kaya's quali lap?
Oh, I must say that I did not know that Portimao and the Circuit de Algarve, or what the full name is, Autodromo de Algarve. I had no idea it was this good. It looks great. The weather also, well, that probably is going to help Kaya to achieve a massive jump on Liam in lap times. If he doesn't get this done with these massively dry conditions for him alone for some reason, he is washed, shit, and should be demoted to the Truck Series tier, which we don't even have.
Please don't make a worse tier than this. I couldn't fathom a worse tier than this.
Oh, we do need it though, but just plebs just race without any kind of damage model, and they can just do whatever they want.
Right, talking about someone that's going to do whatever the hell they want, Rico, take us around his lap, Yuri.
Me? Oh, wow. Well, the joys of having so many caps is that we can do an entire lap with Rico.
In fact, Yuri, take us around a lap of Portimao, but in Dutch.
In Dutch?
Yeah.
Well, we
maybe
don't have to do that.
I'll spare you. Not on board, Rico.
The Dutch. Yeah. Also, you want to go?
Or Scott! For God's sake!
Sure. Scott, je kan echt helemaal niks, man. Daar hoor je niet te rijden. Zeker niet op deze manier. Je hoort een beetje iets meer links te zitten. Inderdaad. Ga je nog netjes aan de kant ook voor de volgende coureur, Michael. En je hindert hem. Ja, lekker bezig, Pik. Goed gedaan, man. Goed gedaan. Well, I think that says it all.
I think it does. I think you summed it up quite nicely there. We've...
I'm pretty sure you could hear from the tone of my voice. It was
Yeah.
very impressive. Lap.
Yeah, very
So
much so. As showing himself in his absolute true form there was Scott, and of course was Rico, who managed to get 3 corners into the lap before putting it in the wall. Bazza out on a set of soft tyres. Sure, I mean the rain has stopped. So seemingly these guys that started, he's going from intermediate to dry conditions, but it does look very early to be on those soft tyres. Baz are very much that guinea pig at the moment. He gets to go out and test if the grip's actually there. You can see very slow through the first few corners, and it looks as though it's that lovely spot between the inters and the dries at the moment, and Baz is caught right in the middle of it.
Yeah, and I think it's very nice that we keep the MI6 agents lab very secretive, because we shouldn't expose Double OKK as he goes towards the final corner.
Yeah, is OKK getting? I think he's been. Yeah, he did invalidate his lap. So so he invalidated. Scott is going to actually cross the line. He does a 150, which is. The fact that he spun and he's only 7 seconds off Kaya is worrying. But
dry lap, by the way.
True. But Bazza, he's gone purple in the second sector, actually. So, I mean, he's got to beat a 27. So, clearly the track is drying. But I would expect these times to go down drastically before the end of the quali session. Don't think they'll be touching the 17s that we saw in quali last season, but I'm sure he'll be trying to put in a semi-decent lap. It was a purple sector 2, but it's certainly not going to be a purple sector 3. It's a 34.5, so it puts him P2 overall at the moment. A man that's so out in qualifying that it actually startled me. Jack Ricketts out already, running a new style livery. What do we think to this one?
Yeah. Nah. It's okay.
It's almost like the old. Oh, that's
right. We're gonna
interesting.
call it a Rallycross livery right now.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it looks like that black Alfa Romeo Sauber livery they brought out, but I'm sure he'll tell us that it's some NASCAR inspired livery that we're meant to know.
Jeez, they have 2 good races, and now all these NASCAR fans think about, we all talk NASCAR.
Yeah, it must be. I'm trying to work out what like the purpley blue front to it is, unless he's trying to impress one hub. But around the final corner, what can Mr. Jacko 10509 do? Up to the line. It's going to be a 26.887. Puts him provisionally on top. He decided to go for the intermediate tyres, so not brave enough to go out on softs, which is something that Jake is trying to do. Risky, however, he's just started his lap. He is on the intermediate tyres, so a split of tyres across the field at the moment. As Jake out there on the softs, it looks as though the track is still a bit greasy. You can see there's still a bit of a sheen to the circuit, as we see having to get off the throttle quite a lot going into that corner. Of course, in the dry is pretty much flat, just the slightest of lifts. But what can Jake do? Down the hill, climb the hill, round to the right. You want to keep your throttle pinned as long as possible. Hard on the brakes. You almost lock up the rear tyres going into his right hander to go head down the hill, flick it into the right to the left hander, slow it down in a straight. Try and get off that curb because that will skate you along towards the AstroTurf on the exit. But Jake manages to gather it back up. It does look as though the man that was always strong in these conditions, albeit that was with full traction, is getting a little bit out of it. He was purple in the second sector. Of course, that was beating the time that Jacko set on the inters. So we'll see what the crossover is now, but it's not going to be quick enough for pole. It is only a 29.3. So we're still in the intermediate window as Sully around the final corner now. And up to the line, what can he do? As Risky back in to Kia. It's a 24.7, and take that, everyone else. 2 seconds faster than anyone else so far.
Yeah, that's a mighty impressive lap from Sully, which, if conditions keep on improving, I guess will be beaten. If not, then might as well let Leroy race, because there we go, DRS enabled, so anyone out now should be ideally on the dry tires. Harry is not yet, and Scott most definitely is not, as we are in the third sector. He also has a purple middle sector. We know how accurate that is in this game, and probably will be in the next game, because Codemasters can clearly fix the shit that they coded wrong anyway. Codemasters, am I right? Down through turn 14, as he goes slightly easy on the power, stays left, goes into the turn 15, which is called Galp. I hope I pronounced that right, and if not, then Portuguese people, I am sorry. Opens the DRS, goes to the line. It's a 25.8 and still 1.4 seconds off Sully's time.
Yeah, Sully, who of course I think did quite well here in Cup, if I remember correctly. Previously, he's been up there, so whilst maybe not the time before, where we of course saw him dispose of Matt Lester into the grass on the last lap of the race. But what can Harry do? As I said, Harry enjoying a decent start to the season. That's going to be pole position. That's 24.166, 0.3 of a second faster than Risky. So the track is definitely coming to those guys that were on the intermediates. But everyone now that is coming out is on a set of the softs. So Lesty just starting his lap, and you can see the track very much now starting to dry. A little bit of wet patches offline, but let's see if he can keep it within the wheel tracks of the racing line. Might be able to get a decent lap time out of this as he makes his way up through turn 3 into turn 4. And well, Lesty, maybe one of those Championship 5 hopefuls. We know he's a bit of a bottle and likes to throw it away at every opportune moment. But what can he do? The man that listens to aggressive house and trance music whilst he's racing, because of course that's what you want to do. You want to be who needs to listen to gear shifts when you can be listening to that?
Well, in all fairness, neither do you during your quali lap, so I will not be hearing any kind of slander towards Lesty about his choice of music, because I dig it.
I don't have a choice of music when I'm doing my quali laps.
What do you mean? You always sing along with whatever we play.
Well,
don't deny it.
Well, I'll always go out there and enjoy myself. This track has dried up immediately. So Lesty's
5 corners and was bone dry.
Yeah, because luckily that's how weather works. But Lesty's going to take pole by at least 2 seconds here. There you go, 22.685. So
that's not 2 seconds.
So so Harry's got one over on him there. But what that does mean is that the 4 fastest people so far this season will, in theory, be sitting at the top of this one. So I'm sure everyone else will appreciate that. What can Jess do up to the line? It's a decent lap from her so far. It's a 23.103. She goes into P2. I would expect to see Dan Price going into at least the front row of the grid, as he's gone purple in sector 2. Of course, that means that he's beaten. We worked out you've beaten the last lap, isn't it, rather than just the overall lap. So he's got.
That's it.
He's gone faster than Jess's sector 2. So around the final corner, up to the line. DRS will open momentarily. And can he beat the 22.6? Yes, he can. It's a 22.1. Which leaves one man out there who has come out at the absolute perfect time onto a bone dry track, doesn't have to worry about any sort of tyre warm-up issues whatsoever, did not slide around on his outlap, and Rageman can go out there and, well, can he get anywhere close to the pole position time that we saw last season? It's going to be a bit of a tall order. Of course, the track will be a little bit colder, so it's not as warm, so it's not as sticky. But I'm sure we'll see Rageman into at least the 21s here if he's managed to hook up the first sector of lap. Of course, we missed the first sector. Just about gets away of cutting onto the runoff area there, but up to the line. DRS will open right about now, and it is a 20.7 and smashes pole position. It looks a lot better than it is. Of course, he came out and had the advantage of the track being to his advantage. But Rageman pole position for is that a 3rd race in a row now?
I don't keep track of balls. That's
No,
your job.
no, I don't care. I'm just pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that it's pole position 3 races in a row.
I'm pretty sure that he got pole at least in Monaco. That's what I'm sure about.
Definitely got in Monaco.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, well, we'll just call it 2 out of 3 then, just to be safe.
true. Yeah, so he's at least got 2 pole positions out of 3 races.
66.6%. Well done.
Yeah, a solid result there from Robin Border, who's already looking a completely changed man in this season compared to what we've seen previously, where he's been a bit inconsistent. But that is qualifying done, and we've got our top 4 in the championship. Are currently the P4, or if I've got the top 5 in the championship. In the top 5, Risky, Fozzie, Jacko, Liam, Jake, your top 10. Bazza, Kaya, Scott, OKK, and Rico, the only one to end up in the wall, which could quite easily be replicated in around about 3 minutes' time when the cars get going. But there you go. It is a 20.7 that does take pole position, and well, it is all about getting to the flag here and, well, navigating your way through safety cars and VSCs. But whilst you go to a quick ad break so that Yuri and I can just grab a quick drink, we will show you, just so you can see, top 10, Rageman, Daniel, Wesley, Jess, Harry, Risky, Fozzie, Jacko, Evil, and Jake.
Getting ready for St. Pete. It's super exciting.
St. Pete really does set the tempo for your year.
It's kind of become that place.
You gotta know when to push. You gotta be on the limit when it counts.
Don't miss a second of exhilarating action. Get tickets at gpstpete.com.
You alright? Club card? Oh, yes, here.
Club card accepted.
No. Oh, don't forget your melon.
You join us back here in Portugal as the guys are still waiting up. There we go, perfect timing, as we didn't even get a countdown then. We went straight into the formation lap, and I think everyone else was a bit caught out by that because some of them went, some of them didn't. But as you can see, as we bring up the tyres for you, only a few guys that have gone off of the beat here, and the only Joker driver tonight is Scott. So he's doing a mandatory 1 stop, everyone else doing a mandatory 2 stop, starting on the hards, which Yuri is unless he's gone for the harder tyre choice, is a bit of a risk, isn't it? Because if you get wing damage in the early phases of this one on the hard tyres, it completely screws up your Joker for the rest of the race.
Yeah, in any other league, if you want to try something different, I get starting on the harder tire, but in a league which runs sim damage, with people who, well, I'm sure they can't even tie their own shoelaces, but here they are racing around a track at 250 k's average. Why would you take that risk? Yeah, if it works, and you're golden. If the safety car comes out anyway past lap 20, you're pretty solid. But other than that, that's a huge risk.
Scott's car isn't usually solid. It's usually in multiple pieces on the side of the racetrack. So we'll see.
In all fairness, in China, he was also very far away from any car. So.
That is true. I don't think you're one to talk about being far away from any other car in China.
Still 20 seconds ahead of him, mate.
So race will start shortly. Do let us know if you're watching along who you think's got this one. Is it going to be a second win on the bounce for Robin and what could have been a trio of wins? Will it be Dan Price making it a debut? Well, I say debut victory. He was bumped up, of course, when he won in Monte Carlo. Well, will he come across the line first? If you are watching along, do all the good stuff you do by liking the stream, really does help us out, and of course subscribing if you're new to Jackocar. My name's Gareth Hall, joined by Yuri Hasselager for the Kia Series. Don't worry, there is much better racing yet to come this week. The Cup Series will be here on Thursday evening at 7 p.m. As Quinn says, it's an easy win for Robin. You'd think so, but he's got to navigate this first lap. So let's get ready for this one as we're sitting on board as Kai was disqualified. Hopefully that's for the rest of the evening. There we go. Right, lights are ready to come on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. Out and underway, and it's a good start from both the front two. And you can see Dan Price already moving over to try and block Lesty, who's filtered to the left-hand side of the circuit as they come into the middle. Is there going to be contact? Yes, there is. There's a couple of cars. I think that's Dustin Rolker coming into contact with Baza. Around goes... Who was that spearing off into the grass? One of the yellow cars. Is that Scott that's got an issue? It was Jacko. Contact perhaps with Jacko, put him into the wall. Yellow flags out locally, but Jacko back underway. Scott dropping to the rear of the field. Jess gets a hip check there from Liam. Liam overtakes her off circuit and should give the position back. Does he do so? Jess is going to go around the outside. Yes, he does. Yes, she does. So Jess back up into P6. It's a good start though for Robin, Dan, and Lesty.
Yeah, it's a less great start for Jacko and Scott, as you mentioned that they might have come together, but actually that's not the case, because I'm not sure what Scott's doing, but even Kaya got a better start off the line than Scott. They were nowhere near each other. I know Scott spun on his own. I have no idea what happened to Jacko, because I was too busy looking at Kaya's inputs yet again. They were very interesting. Rico just about avoided Scott off the line, which he did a good job at, better than turn 4 on his quali lap.
As we've got Team Germany in the comments here supporting both Robin and Dustin. But as Sully looking as though he's going to make a move on Lesty. Nope, thinks better of it. Peels in. I've seen Sully disappear off into the grass in this corner before, but this time around he manages to get down the inside of Lesty and moves up into P3. Can he keep it in a straight line? Yes, he can. So he can now close in on Dan Price for P2. Rageman has not broken away at the front of this one. He's still being kept honest, but the front 5 have definitely moved away. There is our first yellow flag for Kaya, who has, I say flat spinned it around, but is he going to get overtaken? Oh, it's Scott versus Kaya. This is a titan of a battle. Nope. Kaya does what Kaya does and just lets...
The fuck's the point of racing?
I don't know.
If you're just gonna do that.
I don't know.
Just go back to the karting track and do laps there.
Yeah, he was on his own, which is clearly what he wants to do. Rageman, Dan, Risky, Lesty, Harry getting involved in this battle. Can he get within that 1 second window? He's getting close. Needs to get dragged along by DRS because it will be enabled at the end of this lap. And you'll see that Harry is just outside that 1 second window, 1.1 seconds. So maybe a little bit of battery use here from Harry would be smart just to get within that window. As Speed Risky goes down the inside of Dan Price and now moves up into P2. Can he keep it pointing in the right direction? Because that has been Risky's crux over the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks in multiple leagues. But a solid start from Sully.
Well, don't forget that he got himself a P3 last week in Japan in Cup Series. Previous lap, OKK passed Jess, and the pit window is open this lap for your first stop. And I bet we're going to see Leroy... Oh wait, Leroy's not racing.
Yeah, he's one would...
See, it's automatically, whenever I talk about a lap 3 pit stop, my mind automatically goes to Leroy and his pussy strategy.
Yeah, he follows Casper. The Casper likes to do that as well. Go for the girly strategy of coming in. They don't like to try and shithouse a lap lead or so. As Leslie's all over the back of Dan Price here.
Yeah, people need to start leading laps now because it's much more valuable. As indeed, as you say, Leslie's all over Dan. By the way, let Sully go from what it looks like. He also has way more ERS than any of the top 4, which he's now burning in an attempt to keep Leslie behind, but he might be playing the long game. Meanwhile, it's Robin still in the lead with Sully second, Dan third, Leslie now right behind him in the DRS, and he's going to take the inside line with Dan just letting it happen, maybe playing the longs game or thinking about some stage point at some point in the race.
Yeah, as yellow flags are out for OKK, who's gone around, is in the middle of the circuit, but does manage to be avoided by the majority.
Don't hit a barrier on the region.
Gets back on track as into the box comes Rico. So he is gone for the Leroy strat. He's clearly got Leroy in his ear. We've got Team Germany in the comments, and you're slagging them off when we know it's the Dutchies that are the worst ones, right? Rageman has had a spin from the lead of the race as we've just missed it as we were watching OKK. So Rageman bins it going up the hill at the right hand, and he's dropped all the way down to P6. So that's a free position now for Risky Lesty, Dan Price, Harry, and Liam. Jess now on the back of Rageman, who's going to, of course, have warm tyres. So you're going to need to keep the comments rolling to give a little bit of banter there to Rageman, who was, well, looking pretty comfortable in the front of this one. He's now found himself all the way down in P6 and with a lot of work to do. Jake on the back of Jess, into the box comes Rageman, so he's decided to get himself a 5-second time penalty as Jess gets passed there by Jake. No, he doesn't. He backs out for the last minute. So Robin coming in. He's going on to... Is it going to be a set of mediums? Yes, it is. So set of mediums for him. Will he be able to get out in front of Scott? That's going to be quite a close one. It looks as though Scott's just going to beat him out. So he now comes out behind Scott. Of course, Scott on the hard tyres. So will be slow as Jake and Jess do swap positions for P6 and P7, but back up towards the front. Risky now leading by 2 seconds. Then you've got Lesty leading away Dan Price and Harry Collier in P3 and P4.
Just a quick word on Scott, as you mentioned that he passed people in the pit stop strategy. It doesn't fucking matter, because he has absolutely no ERS left. He was 20 seconds behind the next car before entering the main straight, and dude has absolutely no one to fight, yet uses all of his ERS. Back to the battle for the second place as we go back to the main straight. It's Lesty from Harry.
Thank you for that important analysis, Mr. Hasselager. As Matt Lester comes past and overtakes Risky, who is making his first of 2 mandatory stops. As Fozzie now attacking Jess down the main straight, goes around the outside, absolutely blasts his way down. Yellow flag is out for Kaya. Let's have a look at what he's trying to do. Oh, we've got on board, and he's cutting the grass. How on earth have you got out there? That is the inside before the corner.
Impressive.
How has he even gone off there?
It's a very hard corner whenever you have like fully 100% left or right inputs, okay?
Oh.
Don't be so tough on the kid.
I love watching
Be
this.
tougher.
Let's go on board for a second. Are we going to get a pit lane retirement? No, he's sticking with it. He's sticking. Oh, we will eventually. He's driving on the grass, but that's okay. No, we'll go back to
Needs to cool the tires, remember?
We'll go his iRacing strats. Right, there we go. Oh. This is better than the race, by the way. So we're going to watch this for a second. There we go.
Well, the 710's getting probably not wrong.
This is like when you when you watch the Sky Sports F1, obviously, or if you're watching Ziggo or whatever weird European Eurotrash channel you watch in the Netherlands.
Lesty is defending Tin Air.
As I was having fun watching Kaya, but
I said Tin Air.
Yeah, but we'll go back to that in a second. But yeah, when you're watching Sky Sports and they say turn it up, I mean you can just listen to the throttle and the brake input just being spammed continuously. As Leslie still leading this one, 0.7 of a second, and is the gap between P1 and P2, and of course Harry Collier kind of sitting back in P3 at the moment, not really doing anything. Quite happy to use these soft tyres. They're stretching the laps led now, or Leslie grabbing himself some laps led, so hopefully that's going on to Mr. Hasselager's spreadsheet that he's got open, that Leslie's now led a lap. As who have we got? Jacko now closing in on Bazza, and Jacko, who well, a bit of a middling qualifying session. A spin at turn 1 on the start. He's now found himself in the mid-pack and, already, what's that, about 11 seconds off the back of P1. He needs a safety car, so he needs Kaya to do his job. As Rico's been into the box for a set of hard tyres. There's Dan Price coming in, and there's a 3-second time penalty for the Torpedo.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that nickname. He tried to torpedo the turn 4 wall, which was a pretty solid stretch. I've just been trying to work out the pit stops, which I totally forgot by being so under the impression and being impressed by Kaya Langston's driving style, because I just couldn't get enough of it. So I was like totally mesmerized looking at the screen. I was attacking these corners on the Portimao circuit.
Yeah, Jacko just making Basil look like an absolute fool there as he went super hot into turn 1, and Jacko just went, that's fine, I'll just take the racing line, and cut underneath him and to the position. If you're in the position where you're defending in that place there, always take the racing line and make them make the weird move. As Jess now comes out, she makes her first mandatory stop. She's 4.5 seconds behind Scott. Scott, of course, on the Joker, so he'll be doing a 1-stop. He needs a safety car at some point later on in the race to make his 1 mandatory stop. As there's a yellow flag, and there is Rico in the wall, and there's that safety car that Scott didn't want right now.
How do you get on the inside of turn 15?
He's in the wall on the inside of the track. Inside of the track.
That is massively impressive. Lesty, Harry both pit under the safety car.
Right, he bins it about here, so I don't know. And it was on his outlap as well, so you can't even blame old tyres.
Oh, but they were called hard tires, right? Remember?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Right, the entire top 6 takes safety car pit stops.
Yep. So Jake is taking his mandatory. Then is anyone going for a second stop? Are we seeing any? Let me just roll over to stops. No, everyone's still on 1 stop. No one is taking a second stop just yet. Scott is desperately trying to get out in front of these guys, but it's not going to happen. So they're all on fresh mediums. He's still on the old hards, and he's not actually made up any positions. GG's. But safety car outs, risky leading is now Leslie P2. Harry Collier has managed to jump ahead of Dan Price as OKK gets 3 seconds underneath the safety car. I don't even know where you would have got it. It was at turn 1, so unless he cut the pit lane exit, perhaps. He has been given 3 seconds. Rageman, he's got 5 seconds. Does he? Well, it makes sense to just serve that in your second mandatory rather than taking it now and losing the track position, because the safety car is already starting to collect cars at the front of the grid. So we've already got the majority of the train, apart from Have a Guess, who's coming out of the pit lane right now. And
can I guess?
Yeah, go on.
Is it oh no, sorry, it can't be Rick. Is it Kaya?
It is Kaya. Well done.
Ah, nice. Do I get any extra playoff points for Cup for that?
You can take off 3 of Ben's playoff points and give them to yourself.
No, I don't want Ben's playoff points.
Well, I don't have any, so you can't take any of mine.
Well, you do have 1.
Oh, do I have 1 now?
Wait, you have 2. You have 2.
Do
right?
I? Oh, I don't know.
You led laps in 2 different races, right?
Oh, is it being backdated, or is it being added in from now?
It's being backdated.
Oh, excellent. Okay, then well, you're not
That's
having.
why Ben was mad at me.
You're not having any of my 2.
Oh, well. Fuck you then. Anyway, I'm out here as your co-commentator, asking you the serious questions. And sorry, I here have a question from Leroy. He says, if Sully wins, will he be the princess of Portimao?
See, I just saw that comment, and that's an interesting call, isn't it? So obviously we've got the king of Portimao being Ben, the queen of Portimao being myself. If we're keeping it within the speed stable, you've got to think that, I mean, oh God, as you've got to think that Sully maybe takes on. Does he become the princess, or would he be? He'd be. Is he if he'd done it on a Joker, that would have been the Joker or like the jester of the.
Yeah.
But not happening. So yeah, perhaps we'll have to find out what role that Risky thinks that he has within the royal family of Portimao. But back at the front with the back at the front with the competent drivers, Risky from Lesty from Harry, Dan from Rageman from Liam, Jake from Bazza from Jacko, Scott from Jess from Fozzie, and OKK now finding his way to the back of the pack. And then at some point within the next sort of 7 or 8 business days, we might find Kaya, who is actually, do you know, to his credit, is driving around under the safety car without his battery on. So we've definitely learned at least one thing in the last sort of 2 or 3 game cycles.
I thought you were gonna say seasons. Which you fully meant to say years. Nice. So, if you're in this situation, we've seen. I'm pretty sure, was it Cup that we had a big crash under the safety car? Or was it Kia we had a big crash under the safety car restart? I'm gonna say, I know at least in the first time we raced here when Arnoud had the safety car restart, the one at near the end of the race, he fucked it up. That was Ben's first. That was the King of Portimao being crowned.
Yeah,
that's where it originated from.
So
yeah,
that was a big. I'm pretty sure we've had one in Kia that we've had someone checking. Wasn't it Waste checking up, and he got the penalty added?
Yeah, good shout.
It was.
See, this is why you're our lead commentator.
Well, yeah, I'm also.
You know stuff.
Well,
I'm just here to.
I'm also just better than you.
Have I ever said that you weren't?
No,
you get paid to do this kind of shit.
Not enough. Certainly not enough to do this.
Your payment is in all the laugh perhaps, making fun of these guys.
Right, 11 of 33, so we're a third of the way through this one. Jesus, only a third. Right, so Risky will most likely restart on this lap. He's got Lesty for cover. You've got to think that Risky is going to leave it as late as possible. It's a long straight. You don't want to go earlier. You want to let yourself go basically on the line. Now, Risky, is he going to go for the Speed Gareth 89 strap? Because
yes, he is.
It works in Cup because everyone is aware. It does not work in Kia because they will start to run into the back of each other.
So far, so good, I guess. Maybe on the exit here, someone will not pay attention.
Go on, Sully, you good thing. You can go slower than that. We can get within single figures of mile per hour.
Of miles an hour.
I want to see him almost at a full standstill when he gets to the line. So when he goes, everyone is. I mean, you should all be in single file. So who have we got? Who's that was starting to peel out? So we shouldn't be going too wide. Although I desperately do wish a rule gets brought in that we can have 2 wide restarts. I want to bring competition cautions in the last season is definitely something that Jacko needs to look at. Right, so Risky can go anytime from the DRS detection from DRS activation line. He's going to leave it until the absolute last minute to go. Waiting. There we go. Anytime from now. Waiting to the line, off he goes. So everyone having to check up, and that is absolutely what he needed to do, because behind we've got KK that looks like he's had an issue on the restart. In fact, is that OKK in the pit lane? It is OKK in the pit lane for a new front wing. So did he tangle with someone when the cars all slowed down for the safety car restart? But Risky gets away. Lesty, however, is just about managed to keep them both out from spearing into all, gets through. So a good restart from Lesty, managed to not pitch them both into the Armco. Harry behind now. Dan Price, Liam and Robin are both fighting over a position for P5 and P6 side by side. Someone's going to come out that crying, and it looks like it was going to be both of them as they both run wide and probably take a warning for it.
Yeah, that was great defense from Robin. Proud of you what he did there. As Liam has had, no, he did accept the defeat. And that was not necessary though, Robin. You didn't have to go off track there. Anyway, yeah, Michael did indeed get some damage. Robin, Evil did not have, wasn't taking it anyway. Throws one up the inside in one of the corners, of which I have no number. It's 12, I think, from the top of my head. We have another yellow flag for Scott and Kaya. What a shock. Kaya is involved. Scott has lost 5 seconds on this lap alone.
Scott, he's dead. The last thing he needed was to get tangled out, and he just about caught the back of the train of everyone to the safety car. And well, he's going slow. Is he letting Kaya through? I think he is, because that Kaya's just made a legitimate overtake for the first time in his life. As Rage Man picks up 3 seconds, and that makes 8 seconds. So that is not going to help him in his bid to pick up a second race win on the season. Is Dan now closing in on Harry, but the guys all doing a good job so far to stay within a couple of tenths of each other. We've only had a couple of people kind of have a smooth brain moment, and that was of course Scott and Kaya, who are trading positions once again. That's it looks as though it was a send for Scott. Kaya's trying to go around the outside. This is like watching. Oh, no, I won't say that. That's even too rude for Kia. But let's say a special dance. But as you've got Scott and Kaya, 2 titans of league racing, kind of going toe to toe with each other. We'll come back to that shortly, because trust me, that will be one to watch. Jacko trying to shape up Bazza now, so he's already on the back of Bazza. Loses the back end a little bit coming out of the final corner. Jacko isn't on the button, and in fact they're catching the pair in front, so he wants to watch out, because Bazza's going to check up a little bit here, and there it is. Jake getting it all wrong, getting caught on the curb and having to drop off the throttle. And Bazza was thinking about it. Jacko thought about it and thought, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you into the wall, Bazza. You're in the way. But so that's Bazza dispatched off for Jacko. And he's almost getting rid of Dustin, who's sent it down the inside. And Jacko thinks, oh, I'm going to this front wing. It's very good at pushing people off track. So he tried it with Dustin, but unfortunately doesn't work this time for Mr. Ricketts, Mr. said league owner that created the Kia series specifically to give him a league to race in that he could potentially win. And at the moment, he's languishing in P9.
Yeah, that's the sole reason. That is accurate information, as everything we say here is accurate information. But this one is one of the most truest things you've ever said about anyone in this league. This tier is created for the sole purpose of giving Mr. Ricketts hollow victories, hollow points, hollow anything towards his league racing name, because he is so actively caring about whatever he does in an online video game. I just wanted to point out that Jacko's front wing probably is sponsored by a shovel company, because the amount of shoveling he does with that, as Jake this time gets the move done on Robin, by the way, as it looks like Robin did pick up some damage from his fierce battle with Liam.
Yes, he's as you can see, a slightly dirty side pod, so he's definitely taken a trip or two across some gravel. But Jake really not enjoying turn 1 and turn 2 at the moment. He keeps on losing the back end, just getting on the throttle, as Harry and Evil swap positions in this one. So Evil starting to push on a little bit as Risky kicks the rear end out, and that's going to open up the door for Liam. But Liam, after the safety car restart, has already gone through 90% of his battery, which in a track where recovery is not easy in the slightest is maybe not the smartest call to make. But Liam does Liam things. What can Harry do is he's sitting there watching Harry with he's used about 50%. So Liam, although he is looking as though he's got some pace under him, as Kaya and Scott continue their battle, and in fact they're being caught by OKK, so OKK is going to surely get past the pair of them. As what we all do is we'll just stick with Liam, who with DRS should clear Risky pretty easily here. Risky should have moved over and swiped him into the wall, but thinks better of it, thought he'd play fair, which is not how you drive in Kia. As you can see, battery all out for Liam, and Risky can just follow him round and hopefully retake him on the next lap, as Kaya is now ahead of OKK and of Scott. So there's a three-way battle that's happening 20 seconds off the back of everyone else at the moment. OKK, come on Michael, you're much better than that. As Jacko and Fozzie swap positions once again, And Jacko trying to get around the outside. That's going to turn to the inside. If there's any contact here, one of the cars will go around. And of course, what happens then is Jamie Wright screams and creates one of the greatest viral moments in Jackocar history. As they're still side by side. Jacko, if he thinks about this, could now just send it to the inside. No, he's going to actually take the wider line. Cuts in way too deep, and takes a 3-second time penalty for it. Yuri's muted himself, which is why you can't hear him. Either that, or he's fallen asleep through sheer boredom and possibly heart attack through watching. I imagine watching the fight at the back. Baza now.
I'll have you know that Michael had made some stellar moves on Kaya. Kaya, by the way, defended 400 years in advance as Baza and Jacko both dispense of Dustin.
Yeah, that's a double overtake there from Baza using DRS. If that was waste, that would be going up on Twitter claiming it's a good overtake. But
best overtake of the season.
Oh yeah, it would go in the montage, I'm sure. But as you can see, Jacko coming back at Baza down the inside, brakes a little bit later. Is there contact? Manages this time around. The pair of them actually managed to sort themselves out. I'm sure Baza will be wanting to give Jacko a bit of a receipt for what Jacko did earlier on in the race. as Baza once again thinks about it. You can't overtake too wide like that because it's the angle on the inside. You want to kind of stay to the left hand side of the circuit there. You don't want to be on the right hand because the camber of the circuit will throw the car around. Baza's going to launch it down the inside there just to unsettle Jacko, but well, Mr. Ricketts, you'd think, is got a little bit more nerve than that, as Fozzie still sitting with these guys. So we've got a nice little three-way battle that's starting to evolve, with Jess starting to close in on them. Up at the front, Risky now within 0.3 of a second of Liam, becomes 2 seconds, becomes 1 second, 1/10 of a second, and becomes P2. So Risky, after a few laps behind, now gets ahead. Liam cuts as a yellow flag out for Michael, I think. As Scott and Kaya are still trading positions. Yellow flag is out for, who knows, someone in this this sort of P6 down to P11. Disappears very quickly. And we've got like 3 separate groups of fights going on, Yuri.
Yeah, the yellow flag was for Robin, who lost like 5 seconds from Dan. It's still Jacko and Baza going at it, by the way. Baza, who managed to have even less ERS than Liam, so that's also great. Scott decides to finally take his pit stop and get rid of these tires, which he nursed to lap 18, and well, there is some serious wear on those tires after battling Kaya for 8 laps.
Yeah, it's of course side-by-side damage or side-by-side tyre will increase the tyre wear, but you would have hoped that he was looking to get those hard tyres maybe around lap 23, 24, 25, just to make the end of the race a little bit more open, because he's now going to have to take mediums quite a fair distance as Jake and Baza side by side into the final corner. You don't really want to do that because the car on the inside washes out wide, but Jake is into the box, so he's going to follow in. I can't see, it's not showing me who's coming into the box, so I'm going to have to go on
Robin
back.
And Jake.
So yeah, so it's we've got a yellow flag for Risky. That's Risky that's gone around from the lead. So Risky has had his own issue. There is the spin, and he will be gutted with that. But he's got it all to do again, which leaves Lesty in the clear by 4 seconds. And Risky must have made a pretty big error there, because he's lost, what's that, 6, 7... at least 7 seconds of time.
I'm gonna say it's at least nearly 10 seconds of time. Closer to 10 seconds of time. And not a penalty for Michael. Well done. To be expected, yet I'm still disappointed.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've seen from these speed drivers when they drop down into the Kia series that they just can't hack it. There's a time penalty for Kaya. Water's wet. And Jess now on the back of Fozzie, is, I'm sure he doesn't want that at all. I mean, who wants anyone climbing over the back of him? I certainly won't want Yuri climbing all over my back.
Well,
unless
he
he's
did say that someone's
taking me out for dinner first.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Leslie's was up your arse, she said earlier today.
It's true. Jacko speeds into the pit lane. What a fraud.
I've got nothing to add to that.
Okay, fantastic. So Jacko in, OKK the next one out. Risky in for a stop, so he's making his second mandatory. This is where a safety car would really change things up, as Jess trying to go down in. Bazza's defending is exceptional, because he takes the line of what you should be doing if you're overtaking rather than defending, as he cut in so deep it just allowed Jess to sweep back underneath and take the line under and take the racing line and take the position. So she moves up to P5. Leslie now leading by 6.4 seconds. If I was Matt Lester, what I'd do was I'd allow my good friend Harry Collier to win this race, because Leslie in theory should win races this season. This is probably one of Harry's best opportunity to do so. But of course Harry sitting with Dan Price within 0.7 of a second of him. But I'm sure Leslie won't be that charitable. He hasn't yet won a race, so he'll claim that he needs to win this one. But I think we're all Team Harry here. Harry's in, and Dan Price will follow him as well. Does he get it slowed down in time? Yes, he does. Fozzie, as we've got tyres on for... yeah, but you can all see that. Fozzie in. Can he get it slowed down? Yes, he can. Jess stays out. So it's going to be new mediums for all these guys to get to the end. Green flag running. And a nice bit of Kia field spread at the moment is meaning that a safety car is probably only a Kaya away, but he does need to find his way into the wall in one of these corners that somehow he's managed to find his way onto the grass. But Risky clears Jacko, who's making his way down the main straight as well. Fozzie comes out in P8. OKK is going to get past Bazza in the pit lane, but of course OKK still to make his second stop and gets a time penalty just whilst we're on board with him. But Dan Price now within half a second of Harry Collier. So the pair of them, they came in line astern, they've come out line astern, and it's all about who can get these tyres up to temperature. And you've got to think, Yuri, that this is Lesty's to lose. He's got to really bottle it from here.
Well, the thing that I'm not getting right now is every rival who was behind you has stopped. You had a 4-point-something buffer. You pitted under the safety car, so you don't have that stop available anymore. Why are you still out? What are you trying to prove?
I think he's going to try and run the mediums into the softs.
Yeah, that's great, but what if a safety car comes out now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Jess can stop. Jess is fine. Jess is the only one that... Jess and Michael needs to stop. And Kaya. And all of them can still do a safety car stop. Leslie needs to stop. He doesn't have a safety car stop available.
Fastest lap there for Risky as Dan Price clears Harry. So that battle that was happening before the pit stops has now meant that Dan moves up into what is currently provisionally P3, with Jess due to make her stop. Liam, with his undercut, is made his way up quite a few seconds. So 4 seconds is the gap between himself and Dan Price. So not a bad undercut there from Liam, of course stopped a lap earlier. But Leslie due to make a stop, Jess due to make a stop, and OKK will make one as well. Kaya's in to make his second stop and goes a lap down very, very shortly. Of course Leslie is in now, so he doesn't go a lap down, so he saves Kaya's blushes for, I don't know, a lap or so. OKK is... making up his own. I'm sure OKK is actually on the go-kart track at the moment, because he's picking up track extension penalties every lap or so at the moment. So Michael very much making up his own circuit. Keep it within the black stuff, Michael. There's 2 white lines on either side. Make sure you stick it within the 2 of them. But as Leslie in, Jess actually manages to stay out. Now, this is smart from Jess, as Liam's gone around the outside of Leslie. So Liam actually undercuts Leslie for the lead of the race. But Jess, if she leads this lap, will pick up a playoff point. So if she can hold off 1.4 seconds from Liam, this is actually a smart call from her.
Yep, I fully agree. She still has that safety car stop available, so she just needs to stay ahead of Liam until the start-finish straight. Cross the line as first. 1 playoff point added to the tally.
As I'm sure Liam now within a second. Is he going to upset Jess at the final stages because he's going to close right in? He's going to be within half a second of her going into the final few corners. Of course, Jess on much older tyres. Liam needs to keep this pace up because Lesty will be right on him and be looking to retake him. And Lesty's going to get a lovely double toe off the back of both of them as they exit the final two corners. Liam is going to try and poke his nose down the inside, and he's going to take away this lap lead from Jess. Or is he going to block Lesty? Lesty is going to come to the inside. Jess is going to... Surely don't box now, Jess. Surely don't box now, Jess. Why?
I think that was Liam's.
Oh, no, I think I would have to double check. In fact, I've got the stream up right next to me, so I will pause it when they cross the line, because I think Lesty may have just snatched it. It's so close. It's going to be as they cross the line. Oh, I think it's Liam by perhaps 2 meters. So Liam picks up a playoff point there for leading a lap, but it is Lesty that retakes the lead of the race on circuit. Jess just needed to do one more lap.
I don't know.
One more lap.
I seriously don't understand what that was about.
No,
Otherwise, oh well.
Right, so 24 of 23 done. So we're now in the final third of this one, and we could really do with a safety car. That would spice it up as we've got on to softs. Has gone Jess, has gone Kaya. Jake's on hards. Everyone else on the mediums, with Scott having done 6 laps already. So those tyres are going to be, as I said, on his Joker, are going to be hurting by the end of the race, with everyone else having done, between 1 and 5 around him. Lesty broken the gap now, 1.2 seconds. Liam has abused all of his battery, is going to be derating very shortly, and will find himself falling into the clutches of Harry. However, they're coming up to Kai, who's pointing in the wrong direction. Which, to be fair, if Kai probably thinks that's the right direction, is he gonna pull out in front of traffic? No,
Should have done, because it was Sully.
No, he's gone back out to the wrong side of the circuit, rather than just rejoining the track. He's going to get still driving off the track. He will pick up a penalty for this because he's driving off the track for an extended amount of time. There we go. That's what happens when you make stupid decisions. So Kaya out there picking up penalties for not knowing how the game works. Lesty, 1.1 seconds is the gap. Harry, 3 seconds behind. Dan Price, 1.8 seconds back. Risky, just kind of lost in the middle now after leading the early phases of this one and looking as though it was going to go all his way. 3.3 seconds back off of Dan Price. Nothing to worry about with Jacko, who's sitting with a penalty and in 6th. And Yuri, give us a quick roundup of Jacko's season so far. The man that came into the season surely hoping that he'd be at least a C5 candidate, if not one of the hot title favourites.
Do you want me to be honest or politically correct?
No, I'd like you to be honest and completely unpolitically correct, please.
Right, in that case, he should be sacked. Sets up a league just for himself and he can't hack it. He pushes me and Sully, me and Michelle and Leroy and the likes of you away just so that he can win. And then the guys like Lesty and Liam and Harry, they pick up their act and they get their shit together and they do their races as they are meant to do so. And Jacko just cannot hack it. He is too slow, can't even catch up with Sully. He, from what I can guess, has some kind of damage because a massive drift there through turn Samsung, which is a good call. Kaya is off track again, back to Jacko. No, I must say that I expected more from the guy who set it up, who knows the rules, what is and isn't allowed. He's not as aggressive as I would have liked to see him. He's not as quick as I would have liked to see him. All in all, a 4.5 out of 10. Yeah,
I thank you for your assessment. I think that's pretty spot on there from you, Mr. Hasselager, as that's why I bring you along for this insightful analysis. And Jacko currently P6 in the middle of nowhere. Bazza on the back of Jake. Now Jake, of course, on the hard tyres, Bazza on the medium. So this, in theory, should be pretty elementary, and Bazza should be able to clear Jake relatively quickly. 27 of 33 laps have been completed, so around about 5 laps left to go in this one. Safety car, if it's going to come out, needs to come out within the next lap and a half to close everyone up, and then everyone onto a set of soft tyres from there would be quite nice. Bazza clicks to the inside and clears Jake for what would be a top 10 finish, and decides to make up his own variation of the track on exit of turn 1. Evil P2, Harry P3, Daniel P Wiener, or Daniel Price in P4, Sullivan Lewis in P5, who is just lost 1.5 seconds there. So I'm not quite sure what just happened to Sully, but he went from 3.3 to 5.5, so it's 2.2 seconds advantage lost. So that gap between himself and Jacko has gone from 6.5 seconds now to 4 seconds. So Sully clearly getting it all wrong on the exit of, I think it's turn 8, the one that's uphill. I can never quite remember the corner names. I don't have my notes in front. I don't get my notes out for Kia.
Wow, I'm so disappointed.
I know.
Samsung corner, turn
Well,
8, indeed.
I say I don't get my notes out. I actually had to. I got rid of my notes a while ago because they were so out of date that half the corners didn't even exist on some of the tracks anymore. So I will be updating them at some point. I'll come back to you of the.
No, you won't.
Well, I do for the Cup Series, especially for the C5. When
See, but that's worth it. That's worth it. We need those insights for the Cup Series.
Well,
this Kia Series.
When I can tell you how much concrete was laid at various circuits and what the equivalent weight is and various.
See, okay, no, those are cool stats. Completely pointless, and no one needs them, but they're cool.
Like Kia. Completely pointless, and no one needs them.
No, we need Kia.
Oh, well, I think you're alone there. I'm here because Jacko's holding me against my will. I've actually been locked in his for the last 18 months, and he only lets me out when I go to do the filming days because he's doing it without paying me, and he's been forcing me. As Scott and OKK are fighting our way over 12th position at the moment. Scott, of course, on his Joker, has managed to get up as KK. I've got to see this. How many? 18 seconds. And wow. That is 18 seconds of solid 3-second time penalties as well.
Yeah, that's six penalties. Yep. There's 18 warnings for track limit. Right.
Excellent. Love to see it. That is very funny. So Rageman, the guy that started on pole position, looked as though he was going to go all the way. Had a very good start. Liam gets 3 seconds. Rageman now clears Fozzie. So Team Germany watching along will see their two fan favourites fighting away. However, it's over P6 and not overall a decent result. There's Jacko is into the box, serving his 5-second stop-go penalty and takes the new front wing. So he clearly wants to get into a fight with Scott because he's just been he's realised he had such fun last week in China. Let's do it all again. He's going to come out in absolutely nowhere, and what an absolutely abysmal race from Jacko once again. Fozzie is staying with Rageman. We're on lap 29 of 33, and this one has really fizzled out, unfortunately. 4.8 seconds is the lead to Liam. Harry is staying within that 3-second window to Liam, but by thousandths of a second. So Harry really does. As Liam is, you can see, the battery is flashing, which means he is under 20% battery. But he has extended, so it looks as though Liam is actually running a slightly slipperier setup because he manages to break time in the straights. Harry gets it slightly wrong on exit as Dan Price coming in out of P5 for what you've got to think is a fastest lap, because of course he's already qualified for the playoffs, so he doesn't need to worry about points, so he can come out and just pick up some playoff points.
Yeah, he fancies that playoff points. I initially thought it was what Jacko was doing, but he came in like 1 or 2 laps too early. It's going to be tight on corner exit though with Baza, but they managed to get it sorted out. Jake's still behind there with the hard tires. I guess he got help there with Baza being slowed down on the exit.
It was all three of them. They kind of came to turn 1 at the same time, and no one really knew what to do, and they all just lifted off the throttle and just kind of like just coasted through turn 1. I think they were all worried about.
So much better than what anyone else would do. And just send it.
I know. There was no commitment.
We could have used some of that, but I guess this was the more sensible. Yeah.
I'm glad that no one trusts each other to when they're coming out to drive properly on outlets.
Would you?
It depends on who I'm racing. If I was racing in Kia, absolutely not. Then they all did the right thing. If I was racing in Cup, where there's people that have got opposable thumbs and can count beyond 5, then yeah, I'd struggle to lift off the throttle that much, as has been proven quite a few times this season. As OKK continues his love-in with the stewards and picks up another 3 seconds. Oh, for God's sake, not now!
Oh, this is perfect!
Couldn't you've done that 2 laps earlier, you...
And another 0 points! As Jacko sets the fastest lap, soon to be beaten by Daniel, soon to be beaten by Sullivan.
Yeah, so Sully decided that his race had fallen apart. Might as well get a playoff point. Hopefully, Sully's going to sign up. I think Sully's moving in full time. I'd like to see Sully moving in full time because you've got to think that he's got a chance of a chance of getting to the C5. He should win a race at some point.
If Michael, Jacko, and Ben are listening, get Sully and Michel down to Cup, and Kian will have an interesting season.
I'm sure Kyle will come into the comments shortly and tell us a specific excuse of why he's binned it going down the hill. I'm sure he'll say he's got
slow puncture. Yeah,
slow puncture, bodywork damage, rear wing damage that he's managed from picking up by driving. Who knows? Who knows? It could be literally anything. But here comes the battle for the fastest lap, because it's sure more interesting than the battle for the win. Because Harry's now dropped 1.1 seconds out of that 3-second window. So penultimate lap of the race. Lesty, Liam, and Harry on for another podium, which he'll be very happy with. However, P2 was his, but he's lost it at the late stages of this one. Fozzie is trying to close in on Rageman. They're battling away over a P4 finish, but of course Rageman has got a couple of penalties in his name, so Fozzie can really just follow him home at this point. And then it's the fight for the fastest lap. Is it going to be? Of course, it's currently sitting with Jacko, but Risky, purple sector 1, so he's definitely on it. You can tell just going on board of him that he is fully sending this lap. So I would expect to see Sullivan Lewis flash up purple at the end of this lap.
That is all dependent on whether he makes it on fuel, because his fuel light is flickering red on the telemetry display. You don't have that up, I do. It is flickering red, and I was looking at Dan's fastest lap attempt as well, which he didn't make it at the end. He's also under fueled, so this is one and final lap. He's going to get a tiny bit of DRS, but a lot of slipstream down the straight here from Jess, as he probably will smash this by at least 8/10.
There we go.
Only 5. Disappointed.
Slow.
Again.
So, and he manages to not only take the fast lap, but also take an extra position as he gets past Jess. So,
he's going to lose that anyway. He's under fuel. He's not going to make that.
Yeah, so, well, it depends on if we've got the weird... Like, you remember Monaco a few seasons ago where you could under fuel and somehow get to the end? I remember you being stuck behind Matt Davis in another league who was...
mean before he put me in the wall?
Yeah, well, that wasn't your own fault. So Lesty, 2 more corners left to go for him.
There goes Sully, out of fuel.
Well, for God's sake, he always puts like 4 laps under on expecting safety cars. Right, so Lesty up to the line. Congratulations. He's going to let through anyone? No, he just backs off. I thought he was going to let through.
No, it's Michael who didn't want to do another lap.
Oh, okay, no, that's interesting. Lesty takes the win. Liam second. Harry's going to come home P3. There's a battle for P4, but it's going to be taken home by Fozzie on circuit. He's managed to get past Rageman, so they've traded positions. Rageman's going to try and come back at him before the line, but he has got time penalties, so it makes no difference. The 2 Germans come along line astern in 4th and 5th. Dan Price, can he jump Rageman on penalties? He runs out of fuel on the line, and he doesn't manage to do it. Jess, can she come up to the line? Is there any positions to be gained? I don't think so. It's going to be P7 for her, P8 for Bazza. And then we've got a heap of penalties coming in the way of the likes of Jake and Jacko. So Bazzo P8, Jake P9. What can Jacko do? Is he out of fuel? Possibly. Risky is currently. He's weaving like Senna, trying to get some more fuel into the engine.
He's full throttle, by the way.
Go on, shake some more fuel in. Shake some more fuel in. Up to the line. And there is your finishes. Everyone else a lap down in that one. As Kaya says, throttle again. A stuck throttle. Sure. So Sully doesn't add his name to the royal family in Team Speed here at Portugal. It is Matt Lester that manages to somehow find his way to the top step of the podium after qualifying P3, I believe it was. But it is 48 minutes and 14 seconds. Matt Lester takes the win from P3. Yeah, P3 on the grid for him. P9, Liam will be happy with that one. Harry equally up from P5 to P3. Then we've got Fozzie, Rageman. Dan doesn't get the fastest lap, even though he came in to try it. Jess, Azza, Jake and Jacko. Fastest lap did go to Risky. However, ran out of fuel and on the last lap lost 4 positions. That serves you right for continuously underfueling dangerously, Sullivan. Okay, a lap down with 21 seconds of time penalties. Love to see it. Scott on his Joker, a lap down. How on earth does that even happen on your Joker? Kaya was a retirement and decided to do it about 2 laps too late. That wouldn't have brought a safety car. And Rico did exactly the same thing as what he did in qualifying and put it in the wall in the early stages of that one. So, Yuri, assessment. What are we thinking out of 10 for that one? The silence is deafening from Mr. Hasselager.
No, it's just internet. It keeps cutting out, so I have no idea what you're saying.
No, that's quite. What just happened there is a perfect assessment of that race. So
well, halfway through that race, I felt a sneeze. Or no, near the end of the race, I felt a sneeze coming up, and I had the. I wasn't going to mute my mic. I had the line out here. I was ready to shout it, and then I was like, okay, come on, sneeze, 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 and then it didn't happen. But the line would have been like, oh, I'm allergic to field spread. Never happened though.
Gotta love Keir, eh? As I tell you what though, whilst this one may have not been a classic to write home about, next week is something that we've all is brand new, that everyone here should be excited for. It is the debut of the Ked Travitz Invitational. It will be held at Austria, 2 25% races. And what are the rules? Yuri, can you remember them?
The basic rules, there are no different kind of driving rules. That's all the same. There's nothing specific in regards of any driving etiquettes or the safety rules. The interesting fact is though, and afterwards you have to clarify that, I'm not entirely sure how the grid format works for the second race. I think it's a fully swapped,
fully reversed grid, apart from
so
retirements.
Okay, so I got that correct then at least. So no, we just go into a normal quali and we'll do a normal first race, except for it being a 25% race. And then it's like a mini tournament. We just note down the results, give them all points according to the normal Jackocar point system, which is 20, 15, 14, 13, 12, and so on until you get to 1 point, and then everybody else who finishes, doesn't matter, we won't have enough drivers anyway, so the person who finishes last will probably get 2 or 3 points. Doesn't matter. Then we'll swap the grid around, as you said. We'll do another 25%, and we'll take those results again, note down the points from 20 downwards, and then at the end we'll combine those 2 points. The driver with the most points will be classified as the winner of the Cat Travitz Invitational.
Yeah, so it's an well, fantastically well. It's almost like we've devised the rules ourselves. As yeah, so it's an aggregate scoring event. So we will have a fully reversed grid from race 1 to race 2, and it's all about good results. So you could win the first race, and if you get a P16, 15 in the second race, you could find yourself finishing overall down in like 4th or 5th. So It's all about being consistent, which means in Kia it's going to be an absolute fucking blast, and I cannot wait, because if there's one thing this league cannot do is consistency. So you could see the most crazy of winners next week, because it could be literally anyone, and I cannot wait for it.
Yeah, the best part, I like you say, I also can't wait, but the part that I cannot wait for is that someone is going to win one of those races, have an absolute shit race next time. It's going to be, yes guys, won a Kia Series race, and then Jack will be like, no, according to my list, you are fourth.
You do not, if you win one of the 2 races, you do not get to get your name down as a race winner. It's only the overall point scorer that is noted as the winner. That's how we've devised it. So
it's gonna absolutely break some hearts when someone who doesn't really listen to it or gets too greedy on the final lap, sends it down to turn 3, spins out, whilst second would have been enough to accumulate the most points and be classified as a race winner, but you had to get it on track.
I just cannot wait for race 2 to start with Kaya and Scott on the front row.
It doesn't matter though, by the way, because Kaya's going to be on the left side of the grid. He's going to just drive off the grid, take 50 meters, and then pull over to the left side in the grass. Take
to the old Osterreich ring layout. Just go straight.
No, you won't even get there.
Straight into the crowd, through the guardrail. Well,
you won't even get there. By turn 1, it'll be 15, because that's the maximum amount of people that's going to turn up.
So that is coming next week, so do join us for that one. That is going to be a lot of fun. So that will be next Tuesday evening from 7 PM. Of course, Thursday night this week we'll have the Cup Series race, the faster tier, the better tier, the only tier you should really be watching. You only really tune in for this for Yuri and I. But do join Jacko and X in the commentary box for that one. Could be one of multiple people for Race X. Of course, completely unknown calendar. Hedging bets. I think Ben said he thinks it's going to be Monaco this week. What are you going for, Yuri?
Saudi.
Well, that's interesting. I'm going Hungary. I think a street track-esque like race. But I don't think a street track just yet. I think we might see a couple of street tracks towards the end of the season to mix up some results. But,
it's going to be France though. No, it's going to be France. Swapping around France.
The speedway or normal?
Yeah, no, speedway.
Oh, okay, absolutely. If that is there, then I'm fully on board with that. But do join us. That is 7 PM on Thursday evening with Jacko in the box. Of course, do all the good stuff you do on the socials. Go to @Jackocar on Twitter for the Cap Series. Go to @Jackocar2. That's number 2 on Twitter for the Kia Series. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, or if you're in Jackocar and you're not already, you're an absolute scum. Make sure you've subscribed. Press the like button on the video. Just makes Yuri and I feel better. And of course, join us next week for the Ked Travitz Invitational. But for tonight, thank you very much, Yuri, for joining us for this race. And we'll send you off into the evening with some lovely music to listen to. Good night.
Oh, sweet. Can I stay?
Yeah, if you want to.
Oh, I'll stay.
But I'm going.
Oh. Even better. See ya.